I'm just gonna trust right what you're saying. You never play. Came through the valley, we walked through the fire. Your grace is amazing. I trust what you're saying. You never play. I know that you work every trial for good if I stay and be patient. I'm just gonna trust right what you're saying. You never play. Came through the valley, we walked through the fire. Your grace is amazing. I trust what you're saying. You never play. I know that you work every trial for good if I stay and be patient. Ooh, yeah, move up. Yeah, you kicked out my feet, perfect love. Yeah, darkness and shadows gon' fall in the battle. I think your kingdom is come. Yeah, I cannot run. Yeah, surrender, you fill up my cup. Yeah, reason to strive. Yeah, you let me.
And we are live. Welcome to Pardon the Intercession. I'm your host, Matt McClure. I'm sitting here, of course, with CEO of Little Flower Media, Jonathan Bearded Blevins, and CFO of Little Flower Media, Bearded Matthew Marcolini. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you, and I am excited that you are here. We should give everybody a brief recap. Unfortunately, last week we were unable to do our version of, or the last show, I should say, of Pardon the Intercession is something that we had to move around due to travel schedules and whatnot, but we are back in action, which I think kind of gives everybody a little bit of a breather to rest and reflect on all the important topics that we do discuss on this particular show. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Good.
Also, I'm sorry, I can't stop looking at Marco's suit jacket. He looks amazing.
I know, he's just...
Look at those elbow pads.
Oh, I love that. Dude, I need a suit jacket with elbow pads.
Oh, man. The best part about those is that you can... That was really fun. You can glue those on for like 25 cents. That's a really quick project at Hobby Lobby. Just get yourself some patches of leather and just go ahead and zip them right on there.
That's what I spent on this.
Because I'm that big of a douche. Yeah,
all right, we got some...
No sad news. I have been banned from sad news.
No. You're not banned from sad news. Yeah, tragic news. Those are two very different things. A lot of what I discuss in life in general is just sad news, so we can't totally eliminate it.
Can I just say that I think that Marco put the suit jacket on so that no matter what we talk about tonight, he wins?
Yeah, no, I think
the guy in the backwards hat's not winning this argument.
I think that that's fair. Well, I mean, part of the challenge that you've created for yourself, John, is to, confound expectations. If you're the guy who's, just going to have a beard and a t-shirt and jeans and a backwards hat in 100% of circumstances, then you got to really bring it. You got to clear the bar.
I mean, just look at this hair flip.
I didn't mean just a beard.
Nice
I meant
flip.
Primarily a beard. That is a nice hair flip. Good for you.
Marco, your hair is probably the best it's looked since I've met you.
Yeah, it looked rough for a while there.
I know, but I like this new look. I don't want to tell you who I think you look like, but it looks real nice.
This is this is one of my
100% look like Taylor Marshall.
Favorite versions of Marco.
No,
but he's kind of a handsome guy.
He's
kind of a handsome guy.
I think you look like Henry Cavill.
Thank you. Somebody said I looked like Magnus Carlsen the other day, and I was like, yes. I'll
cool.
Take it. The Norwegian, the Finnish chess grandmaster. All for it.
Good for you. Okay, so this is Pardon the Intercession. We do give each of our talking heads here 90 seconds to go over a variety of topics, including focus water. As Marco is so gently promoting in front of the camera.
I too am wink, wink, nudge, nudging, drinking focus water.
Wow, good for you. And just as a reminder to the chat, we do appreciate all you guys, and we will discuss some topics with your, based on your comments in the chat, but we have turned notifications off for the show. But nonetheless, we do love you and appreciate all the support we get. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up with tonight's topics. Boom. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause the timer for a second here so that we can get into this a little bit. As we went through the topics for tonight and we had a text going, each of the guys, John and Marco, each were like, oh, let's each do 4. And they immediately nailed this list. Like within 30 seconds, we absolutely had, I think, a pretty solid fun group of things to discuss. So we're going to go ahead and rifle through it. March Madness, is it the best tournament in the world of sports, or nay, the world in general? Either way, I think that the reality is that in tournament play, March Madness has to rival almost any other sporting event because of the structure and not only the anticipation that leads up to it, but the actual execution is so great and it lasts. I mean, the hype is huge for days at a time, and I can't think of anything else quite like it. So I've declared it the best tournament. We'll just move on to the next topic. No, I'm just kidding. John, go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
So this question is very near and dear to my heart because I have a March Madness party every year and have now for like 10-ish years. And here's the thing. It was close. It's close for me for best tournament ever because I'm a huge World Cup fan, and the World Cup's only every 4 years. And the USA, like watching them is like watching the Lions try to win. So it's super great to cheer for the underdog, and someday they might have a chance. But for me, March Madness is the greatest tournament in the world. It's the story of Cinderella teams. Everyone in the world remembers like the Bryce Drew buzzer beater, even people who weren't alive, when Valparaiso had Bryce Drew just chuck up that like almost half court shot to win. Last year, you have Oral Roberts doing crazy things. Basketball and March Madness brings people together. You think of Loyola and Sister Jean, right? Who like basically put nuns back on the map, even though Catholics know nuns were never off the map. And Loyola has done crazy things over the last 2 years. My March Madness party is the greatest party in America. So World Cup is a close second, but there's something about March Madness in every single one of the 64 or 68, depending on if you count the play-in games. Every one of those teams has a chance, and it gets exciting, and it brings people together. March Madness is the king of sports tournaments. My friends.
What do you think, Marco? Agree to disagree?
Wimbledon is the king of the sport. Wimbledon.
I feel you're pandering to the host.
See, the problem is that John and I aren't going to disagree a lot about a lot of things. I do think that March Madness is a unique opportunity in the world of sports, unlike because you're not going to have a Cinderella story in the playoffs of championship of like pro sports, right? You're just not going to have that in the same way where you can have FGCU, right? Make it into the Sweet 16, right? And they're not one. They're not. They didn't go all the way, right? But there's just something so. I think there's something quintessentially American about it, and like the complete underdog can somehow pull it together for 4 games, right? And make it and just change the course of everything, history for that school. There's something really, really, really fun about that, and it's a ton of fun to watch. I'm not a sports person, but I actually pay attention during March Madness. So,
yeah, I would agree with you, and I do think that there's something magical about it being the world of college sports, right? Yep. They're representing schools, and all of these student athletes are the ones that are, in the limelight. I think that's really interesting. It's not to say that playoff baseball or some of that stuff isn't also fun to watch. It's just that there is an element that gets lost in the middle when everybody on the field is making X number of dollars, and that's their whole job versus this group of college kids that's coming together to try to make magic happen, right? And
some of those schools that really do well, who are making the tournament for the very first time, or maybe the second time with juniors and now they're seniors, they're like, that team stayed together. It's the only reason they have a shot to beat these Kentuckys and Kansases and Dukes is because they've been together for 4 years. None of them are going to the NBA. And those stories are unbelievable, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the stuff dreams are made of, literally.
And it's crazy to think, you got these tournaments happening right now. Oklahoma's playing Baylor. Michigan lost to Indiana earlier in the Big Ten tournament. Likely, whoever wins the Big Ten tournament will not go the farthest in March Madness. Just
right.
Likely.
Right.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
The Michigan could go in now and win and get to the Sweet 16 after just losing and giving up a 19-point lead. The parity in college basketball is so fun.
Yes, absolutely. All great points. Chat mentions that Mortal Kombat is the best tournament in the world.
Now
that is solid. Okay. I didn't think about expanding to that level. I was thinking more sports, but yeah,
that was real.
Kumite from Bloodsport, great tournament. I don't know. I don't know if I can deny that.
Basketball was also pretty great.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, moving right along. The Batman. Fun or flop? I don't even know if this could be considered a flop. I guess a flop implies that it wouldn't do well at the box office, which clearly everything is going to be fine. But just from a perspective of, I like talking about this, and I know that in general, you guys enjoyed it, but I'm just going to give you a quick counterpoint to discuss. I do kind of miss the days of a version of Batman where I could take my kids to it and I would not be concerned that they would then have nightmares. And as the evolution of the character has, developed, it gets darker and darker and darker and darker to the point where it's like, we're watching a movie that's closer to 7 than, is closer to a superhero cartoon comic book. Thoughts, Marco?
Batman's always been dark. I think that the comic books were dark. I mean, they were supposed to show the virtue of hope, right? Where Marvel was really over the top with its. I mean, like, to be honest, a lot of these things were started by American propaganda for American propaganda during wartime, and that's okay.
Are you implying that Captain America is somehow all American propaganda?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But they were used to increase the morale. They were used to show virtue and to teach specific things, right? The core virtue of Batman isn't the fact that he's this awesome ninja, right? It's the core virtue of hope, right? And there's truly hope that you leave with at the end of that movie. But yeah, I'm happy to be disagreed with.
So, but hold on. Are you saying that it's good?
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite thing, and the favorite Batman movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I was a wuss back in the day. I still kind of am when it comes to movies. So, you might think that the Batman with Two-Face and the Riddler and Nicole Kidman, I'm pretty sure Robin was in that. You might think that was not scary, McClure, but that movie gave me nightmares, bro.
Terrified me.
Like Jim Carrey terrified me as the Riddler, even though it's kind of silly now that I'm an adult. So I'm with you there, Marco, that they're all dark. But what I'd like to do is go through a couple of the Batmans that existed and tell you if I put the Batman, the new one with Robert Pattinson, above it. Do I put it above Batman Forever? Yes. Do I put it above Justice League from 2017? Yes. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021? Yes. The Batman from 1989 with Jack Nicholson? I do. I put it over that one. Wow. Batman from 1966? I do. Batman Returns, one of my favorites. I put the new Batman ahead of it. Batman Begins. I loved Christian Bale. Love the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batman Begins trilogy. I do put the new one above it. Do I put it above the Lego Batman movie?
No.
Barely. Less than 0.5%.
Really?
I do put it ahead of the Lego Batman movie. But for now, I have it tied with the Dark Knight, and I have Dark Knight Rises as my favorite. And I know that I'm in the minority there. Most people say Dark Knight is better than Dark Knight Rises. I like Dark Knight Rises first. I'm going to go the Batman and the Dark Knight tied. I think Robert Pattinson was great. I think that it's a perfect setup for the next 2 movies that they're probably going to make for it, and I cannot wait.
What I loved about Robert Pattinson in this as Batman, right, is he just looks like Batman from the comics. He just looks like the comic book. He has the his whole facial structure, reminds me so much of the comic with the hair, and it's just angsty, and it's but not totally pathetic that sometimes a certain other Batman came across as. But yeah.
That's fair.
The things about this movie, bro, the way they filmed it, the way that he acted with his feet and his eyes, I thought was unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it was just filmed in a beautiful way too.
And now, based on your previous comment, I feel dumb because I forgot that they are making versions of Batman that my kids can see, like Lego Batman and perhaps a lot of the cartoon shows. So I withdraw my previous comment.
Lego Batman is a top 5 cartoon movie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, moving right along.
Oh, wait. Can I pause you?
Oh, yeah, you can pause me.
Just with the chat?
Yeah.
So a lot of people said they haven't seen it. How do you pick the topics? We pick them together in a chat. And if you guys want to vote on topics during our stream throughout the week, you can put little suggestions in for Around the Halo or part of the Intercession.
Excellent thought.
Thank you.
Cartoon DC is not kid friendly. No, it's not.
No. It's agreed. I was talking more the original that first Batman cartoon show. It might have been called The Batman. I don't remember.
Oh, wait, did you guys see the
one from the 90s?
The DC League of Super Pets?
No.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh my gosh, it looks hilarious. Oh, it looks so funny. Yeah, it's an animated Batman called DC League of Super Pets.
That looks hilarious.
Anyway, I think it's gonna be great.
Oh my gosh, that
Amazing.
looks awesome.
Right?
You'll be happy. You'll be happy.
Okay, here we go. Topic number 3, Brittney Griner arrest in Russia. So she is a professional. She's a WNBA player who was in Russia recently, apparently, which seems like a tough circumstance in general. But she was caught with hashish oil in her bag, which is essentially marijuana, and a crime over there, and so is now and has been detained for an extended period of time. And I think the reason that this came up is because somebody made a tweet, correct me if I'm wrong, John, was that they said essentially that if this was a male player of like fame and notoriety, that they would have sent in the Marines, so to speak. Is that fair to make that comparison?
Yeah, someone tweeted like, imagine if Tom Brady were in a Russian prison, like what the government would be doing to get him out.
Right. Okay, so that is I guess an apt comparison in a vacuum, but it does sound as though steps are being taken to try to remove her from that situation, or doing what they can at least. Marco, you want to get us started on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's dumb. The fact that anybody would think that they could do anything else other than what they're doing now. They have almost zero diplomatic relations with the Russian embassies, right? Like there's almost nothing going on. There's a war going on. Stop making this about your feelings. Stop making this about your whatever you think is oppression, right? Stop it. People are dying, right? People are actually dying. She was dumb. She was smoking pot in a country that is notorious for prison cities. You shouldn't commit crimes when you're in a foreign country. Like, you shouldn't commit crimes in general. Doubly so when you're in a place that'll throw you in a thing called a gulag. That's scary.
Wait, that's real?
Bad, right? Oh yeah, no, it's literally a thing. Like literally a thing. They still have them. Prison cities. So, I mean, look, it's really sad that she's in it, and we should do everything we possibly can. They're bipartisan outreach to the White House to actually do something about it and stop getting pushed around by the good old Vlad. But I mean, she was making $1 million. Like, people were saying she shouldn't be there. She shouldn't be there. I'm like, she makes 4 times what she makes a season. Gulags are bad. Okay.
In the
she makes 4 times what she makes in a WNBA season in Russia
during the off season, right? Playing in leagues there.
Playing in leagues there. She makes $1 million a winter season. That's insane. So absolutely, she should be there. Shouldn't smoke pot.
Yeah, I mean this whole thing is pretty crazy. I can't help but think of my friend who travels to Singapore a lot for work, and I don't know if you know some of the crazy laws in Singapore.
Yes,
because my first reaction to this was like, oh my gosh, it's pot. Like, give her a break. What are we doing? Like, and then I was like, okay, and that still is true, but
Yeah.
follow the laws. Like, it is illegal to litter and sell chewing gum in Singapore. It's illegal to annoy people with a musical instrument. Marco would be arrested in Singapore for walking down the street and singing. Like, you have to follow the law. I was talking to my friend about it.
New song unto the Lord.
I was talking to my friend about it, and he was just like, yeah, it's scary to go there because he like doesn't want to do something on accident and get arrested, but he's doing his best to follow the rules. So I feel bad for Brittney. I do think America needs to help in some way. But yeah, like Marco said, there are other things happening, bigger things happening. And if you're going to sit here and say that we would do more for Tom Brady, I would just say to you, I don't think Tom Brady would get arrested in Russia. I mean, that's just what, it was a dumb thing to do.
I mean, that opens the door to another question, though. It's like, should we pay our female professionals more?
So that they don't have to go to Russia.
They don't have to play in Russia.
Yeah.
We can have that be a separate
national treasures.
We can have that be a separate conversational topic on the economics of men's and women's sports as we get into it. I do think Evan brings up a legitimate point.
He's correct.
I think Russia is looking for reasons to arrest U.S. nationals at this point, and I would have some concerns about that, especially in a time where our diplomatic relations with Russia are at the lowest point that they have been since the Cold War. There has to be, there's going to be a little bit of an element that is involved with that, where especially if you are of the right profile, that you are going to get targeted. I do think that if it is legitimate, as long as it wasn't a plant, I don't understand the value of flying with things that are illegal. Like, I don't get it. Like, if that's your thing and that's what you need, you will have access to it back in the United States where it's legal. Like I don't know what those cartridges cost, but they are worth more than being in a gulag. So
Gulags are bad.
Gulags are bad. Okay,
They are bad. We learned that today.
We did learn that today.
all right. Moving right along. Warm up for this one, Marco. This is a good one. Gas prices. Is it my fault? Yes, we agree that gas prices are actually me, Magic Pants Matt. It's my fault that gas prices are so high. But this actually came up from a perspective of whose fault is it that gas prices are so high? It seems to be going back and forth in the media between it being on one side the government's fault and perhaps the leadership, and on the other side that like this is something that people should be willing to pay because of civil unrest in different parts of the globe. So both of them are kind of unique kind of viewpoints. But I thought Marco was going to get us started with this one. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Sweet.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Magic
just going to
Pant.
go ahead and extend Marco to 9 minutes for this topic.
Thank you, Mr. Magic Pant. Welcome to class today.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
to his TED Talk.
Hey, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So in the first thing, I'll be taking my source material from Kangmin Lee, who did all the research for me. But no, so the issue right now, everybody knows gas is obviously through the roof. What's the cause of that? Is it primarily Russia? My answer, and I think most logical answers, are yes, the dramatic increase over the last week is, but we were already well up, getting close to $100 a barrel before Russia happened, right? So we have the cotton-headed ninny muggins to thank who banned the Keystone pipeline, which would have given us 830,000 barrels of oil a day, right? So it's 300 million barrels a year. When you ban that, the investors, right, who speculate on the price of oil are going to start pricing it higher because there's going to be less, right? Like, that's a significant issue. They halted new oil and gas leases, right? They stopped drilling on federal lands. All of that has led us to $125 per barrel of oil, right? It's almost $30 billion a year if only 7% of our imports come from Russia, right? So, I mean, we could have done that. We could have done that and more, because we are a net exporter of oil, right? We could have done that and more and still been energy independent like we were under Trump. I mean, Elon, like, renewables are great, and this is the general consensus, right? The Biden administration refuses to do anything with nuclear energy, which is a significant issue, right? A bipartisan issue. Nuclear energy is clean, it's amazing, and it's cool science. But they want to fund wind energy and solar energy. Solar energy actually contributes to the climate heating, and wind energy destroys air biomes and kills off endangered avian species. Anywho, I would love for all of those things to be able to meet the immediate energy need of the moment, but that's not going to happen. Even the great Elon Musk, who is our anonymous gifter in the channel, has said, hey, we need to authorize drilling on federal land. We need to start drilling again because we need to meet the energy needs of the moment. It's a huge national security issue. Done. Next question.
Yeah, I'm glad that I only have 35 seconds left because Marco is passionate about this and knows more about it than I do. But I do think the interesting thing to me about all this is just how quickly everyone blames everyone all the time about, and like, no one likes to be in charge of anything when it's going bad. Gas prices are through the roof. So the president's like, it's not my fault. And I don't believe he doesn't have a switch in the White House, right, in the Oval Office, where he just turns it on and makes gas prices go crazy. But he's made decisions that seem to have put us in this situation. My thing is, I just want, where, Marco, can we find honesty in politics, bro? Why is it that for the last 20 years that I've been paying attention, finally, I'm 34, so I've only been paying attention for like 15, 20 years. But every single time it's like, this president's economy does well. And it's like, well, that's because it was set up by the last president. On both sides, they all do it. Or it's bad. Well, that's because it was bad because it was ruined by the last guy. We're going to fix it. It's so annoying. How do we fix that and get some good, honest reporting, my friend?
You know, there's never going to be good, honest reporting because there's perverse incentives, right? Like, the way they keep us looking at this stuff is by doom scrolling. Right? They increase our anxiety. They make us keep scrolling to find the answer. right? There's perverse incentives for the people who supply the information for the people who consume it, right? I mean, that's why we've seen a marked increase in a marked increase in all of these natural, like these terrible things happening politically since the inception of Twitter of 2007, right? Childhood suicide rates through the roof with Instagram becoming open to 13-year-olds and above, right? All of these things, I think, comes back to social media and its negative uses. If used properly, it can be great. But I think it is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Good thoughts across the board, everyone. I'm glad we survived that one without offending anyone. I'm going to go with Evan on this one as well. The answer is always OPEC. And I don't know what OPEC is, but I just understand that he's in the industry, and so I'm going to trust him. Moving right along.
Oil industry?
He does.
Peloton epic fail. So this is an interesting one. It's been kind of happening for a while now. Peloton went from a high stock price of like 165 per share all the way down into the low 20s. It's bouncing around at $20, $21 at the moment. And so they recently laid off a whole bunch of employees, and Marco had a pretty awesome or found a pretty awesome tweet or story about it that basically was like, we severed relations with these employees or laid them off, but gave them a free year subscription to the Peloton app, which of course
you lost how to provide for your children, but you get a free year of Peloton.
We're going to help keep you in shape by reminding you of the place
my life.
that you hate. But it did seem to be kind of it was a perfect storm, so to speak, that you have a brand like that gaining popularity at the beginning of a pandemic where everybody, was no longer allowed to go to the gym, and, they saw huge sales booms come out of that. But is this not the norm when it comes to the world of fitness? Is if there's a tech bubble and a housing bubble, is there not a fitness, some kind of consumer fitness bubble that always exists? What do you think, John?
I mean, here's what's happening with Peloton. They messed up, and Marco has a lot of hilarious things to say about that. But here's what also happens with all products in the world right now. Okay, is a Peloton a good idea? Yes, I think it is, especially during COVID. People couldn't go to the gym, so you can get your workout on. You can be motivated by someone without feeling the pressure of going to a gym and having a trainer yell at you. Whatever. I think Peloton in general is a good idea. Idiots were running it. Bad things happened. But here's what's going to happen. You have to ask yourself these questions. Is it a good company? Is it a good idea? It's a good idea. Yes. Okay. Can you somehow sync it to an Apple product? Like, I don't know, an Apple iWatch? You can. Apple could just go ahead and make a Peloton thing for the iWatch and then track everything from there. So it's going to be bought out by Apple, and they're going to be saved, and everything's going to be just fine. That's just going to, you mark my words. Peloton is going to sell out to Apple, and they're going to save Peloton, and it's going to be an Apple product that you can sync with your watch. You will see.
I bet you are correct. You're gonna sell to somebody. They're gonna sell to somebody, because I mean, they can't just stop being this, like John Foley, and like, God bless him, man. Like, sometimes these, like, Fang just does not, like, Marie Antoinette never said the things that she was accused of saying, right? However, it just feels very Antoinette-y. A lot of these, like, commercials and like, oh, hey, we're firing you and laying off 1/5 of our workforce, but you get a free subscription to Peloton and, a tenured-based severance payment. That's probably like nothing, right? I mean, the issue was that they surged. They had no ability to meet demand in the first place, right? But they got distracted by their stock going up. They got distracted by their sales going up. They had no ability to meet demand, right? I got our Peloton right before all of the COVID crazy hit in April, right? We were one of the last customers to get ours before you had to wait 6 months to get it. What they ended up doing was there's this thing called Operation Tin Man, where they were spray painting black Pelotons, right? That were coming rusted from overseas. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a lot of the reason why I think it's this kind of like wonderful, like, hubris moment is because all of these companies are so performative in its social justice, right? But they they do nothing when it comes to actually operating these companies with a sense of like, not going after the corporate greed, right? Of paying attention, of putting people over profit, right? Of like discontinuing things immediately when a child dies. There are multiple kids that got killed by that were injured. Excuse me, I don't want to defame them. That were injured by the Peloton treadmill, right? They did not want. They kept saying, "Oh, it's fine, lock it up," blah blah blah. But like they just kept ignoring it. They just kept ignoring the writing on the wall with a lot of these things, and now we're seeing them reap the benefits of that. I mean, the home fitness market is now contracting to pre-pandemic levels, right? As it would, right? And I mean, John Foley lost his job because of it. His job is to clear the runway for his people to succeed, and he failed.
What are his consequences? Is he still rich?
Oh, he's always still rich.
When you get to that level, there are very few consequences.
Don't get him wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get him wrong. He's still an oligarch. Like we call our billionaires and centimillionaires, but we just defame the Russians for being rich when they're rich.
Yeah. I think that's fair across the board. I do enjoy that chat mentions the same thing that I have told my parents at this point for years, is that all expensive fitness equipment eventually becomes a hanger to dry clothes on in your basement at some point in your life. Peloton will be no different. Moving right along, leftovers, are they worth it? This comes from an article that was generally misleading, but it brought us to an interesting topic of conversation. The article was talking about how these college kids ate some leftovers, immediately felt sick, went to the hospital. One of them was much worse than the other, and he ended up having to have an amputation of parts of both of his legs after having an infection in the hospital. The title of the article led you to believe that eating bad leftovers was a direct cause for his future health problems. That is not the case, and they might have initially been concerned about some kind of foodborne illness when he came in with like 106-degree fever, but ultimately there was a variety of other things that caused that particular thing to go wrong. So here's the actual question. Should you be making leftovers to the point where you can eat them over the next couple of days, or is it better idea to just cook less and keep everything fresh? John, you eat fresh. Why don't you start this one?
I use HelloFresh, and one of the reasons I like it is because there's not leftovers, and we don't waste leftovers. I don't like throwing the food away, but leftovers in general are perfect and great. And meal prep is helpful to reduce stress and to promote health. So I'm a huge fan of leftovers. This was, like you said, a perfect storm. But I will say this, leftovers should only ever be eaten cold. If that even increases the risk of getting sick, so be it. It's worth it. I'm an odds guy, man. The odds of that happening where you have to get something amputated because of a perfect storm that happens with your leftovers are like 1 in a million. I'll take my chances. All right. I'm eating leftovers all the time. They're absolutely worth it. And please, for the love of all things holy, eat them cold.
Eat them cold.
Couldn't disagree more. Always fresh. Next question.
That's it. Always fresh. Next question.
Always fresh. Next question. I appreciate both of your hot takes on the issue and would like to place myself firmly in the middle.
I will say, can I throw my wife under the bus here?
Oh, yeah, please do. She would love that. I'm going to clip this.
There are definitely dangerous things. Like you just have to be smart with leftovers. I've had to teach my wife that you just can't like leave things in the fridge for 10 days, like, and come back and then eat it. We got married, moved in together like the day after our wedding, went on our honeymoon the day after that. The day that we moved in after our wedding, I made some dirty rice, I think, right, with some ground beef. We went to our honeymoon. 8 days later, we got home. And she opens the fridge and she starts to heat up the dirty rice. And I was like, Jody, that was in there for 8 days. That's disgusting. Throw it away. You can get sick. And I have had to teach her that you can't just leave things. Just because it's in a fridge doesn't mean you can't get sick.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. I've always had the benefit of working in like commercial kitchens, right?
She doesn't watch the show, does she?
She sometimes does.
Oh, no.
I've always had the benefit of working, close to commercial kitchens because of the club business, and every chef that I've ever worked with has given me the exact same, like, if you cook chicken and then you store it in a fridge, you have 6 to 7 days to use it before it must be thrown away. And that is like a universal element that is like, do not mess around.
Every person should honestly take a food safety course,
Yeah.
right? Like, I was a chef for a summer, or a cook for a summer, and it was such, like, I am so grossed out by so many things people do with food every day.
Yeah,
right?
It's
like,
rough.
just because like, I mean, like, it's, some of the stuff is really, like, not cleaning after you cut chicken on a counter, even though the the chicken didn't. I cannot talk tonight. It's too much caffeine.
How many focus waters have you had?
And it's not even 9 o'clock. It's really gross. Anyways, moving on. It's fine.
Yeah, but taking bites out of sticks of butter is healthy.
That's the way to go.
I love Giles' comment here. We don't waste good food in my house. We put it in the fridge and throw it away after a few days.
That's
literally my in-laws. That's literally my in-laws.
Good.
That is
literally my brother-in-law will save like little morsels of cheese.
Yeah.
Like, of good cheese. It's very good cheese, but it'll be like a little morsel of a cheese. And I'm like, what are you doing with this, Patrick? And he's like, oh, I might want it later with salami.
Right.
You know, a little midnight salami.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, Hendrix, you can throw it in chat and we'll talk about it later. Okay, final topic for tonight's itinerary, potato perfume. This comes from a fun little article about how the Idaho Potato Commission has launched a limited edition French fry scented perfume, Frites by Idaho, which retails at $1.89 per ounce. So it's nice to know that you know it has jumped off the dollar menu. Potato perfume is something that I have always been doing, or at least I thought I was, which is where I roll around in bacon and chives before going to bed, and my wife loves it. Perhaps that's not the way it was designed, but is this a buy or sell here, Marco? What do you think?
Oh, buy. Absolutely buy. You know who's also going to need to wear it? Jussie Smollett, while he spends 150 days in Cook County jail. Justice have been served. Don't lie to the cops. Next question.
How is that your take?
I
know, it just popped up on Twitter. I'm just so glad that he got jail time.
Oh, man.
I've been so blackpilled on the American justice system for the rich for so long.
Oh, amazing.
So okay, next. Potato perfume, absolutely buy it. It's delicious. It's the smell of America. If you want to smell freedom, you want to smell Frites by the Idaho Potato Commission. If you want to hear the soaring eagle's call over the land of liberty, you will buy Frites.
Matthew Marcolini, master of segues. All right, Jonathan, let's do it. Potato perfume.
I'm selling potato perfume because, like, the only thing that would make me want, like, yes, the smell of French fries is irresistible, but not in I'm married to my wife and now I must go procreate. That is not the way that is not how French fries make me feel. The marital embrace. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's disgusting. The last thing I need is for my wife to inspire me to go to McDonald's by how she smells. Like, it's so weird. And if we're gonna have, if there's gonna be a potato scented perfume, then can we at least have like garlic mashed potatoes be the choice? Because they're a lot better anyway.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that probably there's more rejuvenating properties in just bathing in garlic mashed potatoes than there is, putting on a scent.
Apparently, Anne likes it, so
it's probably
will like it.
Oh, I just meant that, I just really like chives and bacon, and we have a lot of it in our house, so I might as well, start wearing it.
Question for you guys and for the chat: what percentage? It's sold out. What percentage of the sales of French fries perfume was a complete meme? Like, what percentage was so people could say I have a bottle?
I would
100.
say, yeah, I was gonna say 97%. Yeah, it's got to be
good old Aunt Elma.
It's got to be
completely unrelated. Have we ever thought about selling bath water?
Thought about it? Sure. followed through with it.
We are against it.
Not that you know of.
Oh, we are.
Yeah,
okay.
we are against it, as it turns out.
Ooh, I think we should do this bonus question.
All right, we've got a bonus question from the chat. I love how this develops with our community. This is awesome. We'll do it live. Bonus question from Hendrix. Will you let your kids play football? It has been a hot debate in my house, and having a son who played all the way to college, it wasn't worth it to me, and I don't want my son to, but his mom said it's up to him. It scares you. So Hendrix and I are in the same boat on this particular issue. I have an 11-year-old who is desperate to play football, and I really like his brain and have concerns, especially even just from what I've seen from like the Pee Wee football coaching staff, that it seems to be a little bit too much, get out there and hurt some people kind of mentality. And I don't think it's necessarily the best idea. That is just me, and I have concerns about it. And I'm sure that John will tell us how many concussions he got from playing soccer on a regular basis. And, and it seems like it is possibly equally as dangerous. What do you think?
I mean, sports in general are very dangerous.
Yes.
Football and hockey, though, do have a higher rate of concussions and CTE. But here's my thing. And here's the thing, Marco McClure. McClure, your son, who's 11, and my oldest is 7. Even that 8, 9, 10, 11, even that 4 years difference is a big difference for what my son will experience playing football and what yours is experiencing already. Listen, studies have shown, like, it's not the kids who play Pee Wee football or basketball and travel and do everything that make the NBA, right? And so just there, you can play flag football until you're in high school. You don't have to play tackle until your kid does not have to play tackle until they are 15 years old. And if they get a concussion 1 or 2 times, I'm stopping my kids from playing. It's just as simple as. But I'm not going to just stop them ahead of time if they want to. I will say this: I think one of the worst things about humans and parents in this world, specifically dads, I guess moms too, when they do this with their daughters, is pushing their kid to do something they don't want to do because they're vicariously living through them. I think that's one of the most dangerous things you can do as a parent, and that's messed up. So I'm not putting my kid in any sport unless he wants to play. Right now, mine loves football. I'll let him play. If he gets concussion, I'll pull him out. But you don't. If my kid wants to be in the NFL, he can literally start playing football when he's 12 and still make it to the NFL if he's good enough. It's way more to do with your physical ability and your God-given talent than it does playing in 10 different leagues and tackling each other at the age of 10. It's getting healthier. It's getting safer. I will let my kid play until something bad happens.
That's fair.
My take is, honestly, I mean, you can wait till college and walk on in college. If you have the genetic so much, I mean, we're talking about like milliseconds. It's like when you see it most evidently, when watching Olympic swimming, right? Records and gold medals are decided by milliseconds. If you have the genetic makeup, you can do it. And you have to have a real honest conversation with yourself about forcing your child to do something if they don't have that. But my take is, don't play football, play rugby. Is statistically safer, less permanent orthopedic injuries. Next question.
Play rugby.
Good. I'm glad we've solved that.
Yeah,
one.
Rugby is actually a safer sport than football, even though nobody gives it credit for that. And you might get a little bit more bloody occasionally. However, when you tackle in rugby, it's a completely different action than the way you tackle in football. Right? You have to have your head on the outside. You have to put your shoulder into them, right? And you have to wrap around fully or do a Greco-Roman tackle because you have to protect your neck, right? Like, there's nothing like you automatically and naturally cradle your head in such a way that you don't get the concussion. Sure, you might get kneed in the nose, right? But like, that's not a permanent injury. That's not going to give you CTE. Yeah, people do go face first and lose teeth once or twice. They don't do that repeatedly, though. I think it's a great sport. I do think it can be but look, I think John is. I think at the end of the day, even though I hate to admit it, John is right. You can play. The amount of pleasure you took for that in that moment was worth the entire thing.
What's that like?
Well, what's that like? Yeah, exactly. But it's like, look, I mean, I played tennis really, 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 really hard from like 8 years old until sophomore year of high school, and my shoulder is dead. Like, I half the time can't sleep on my right shoulder still. And I didn't play in high school and I didn't play in college. I did. It was really good for me as a human being, developing grit and stamina and all of those things. Right. And I think I needed that as somebody who deals with like really intense ADD. If anybody has watched me here tonight, they see that. But I was never going to be on the AP tour. Right. Like that was never going to happen. Right. I could have gone to some D4 school. Right. And maybe gotten $500. But no matter how much I wanted to be that wasn't what my God-given talents were. Right. And that's okay. And I could have just played it in high school and had fun instead of giving up on it entirely. And I didn't need to play 5 hours a day, So.
Yep. All fair.
Next PTI, we have to talk about esports and how the average amount of time that most esport professionals will tell you that they have to practice a day is about 12 to 15.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense with every other professional sport, though.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
you can't play soccer for 12 hours a day.
We'll talk about it next time, but the fact is that when you're at that level, you are thinking about it for that amount of time. So you might only be able to train for X amount of time, but then you hit the gym, and then you have to do the recovery, and then you have to do the stretching, and then you have to do the fueling and pay attention to your diet, and then you have to do the strategy. And I played college tennis, and it was an all-encompassing experience that involved 2 hours of gym time and 3 hours on court, and coaching sessions and recovery sessions that ended up being 10 hours a day when we were in the heat of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for sure. But in terms of the repetitive element that's involved in esports, that's a great comparison topic for sure.
I'm telling you, we would have a community for World of Warcraft. We have a pro World of Warcraft in our community right now.
Oh my gosh.
And here he is.
We can storm the castle.
Austin, I'm also raising my kids on Fortnite, so I'll let you know how it goes as well. All right. This has been an awesome episode. I appreciate you guys. John, well done. Marco, well done. This is this the first PTI that has been it's just been us, Little Flower Media?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like
PTI is different. It's definitely a different feel being on the show than around the Halo.
Yeah.
You don't have as much time to come up with your witty answers.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit quicker. It's probably a little bit more visceral, and you do have a little bit more time to get into the minutia of a conversation. So
we had easy ones tonight, though. So that's great.
Yeah,
and
I
have news from Joel, who just got back from Europe, but is also has another pretty huge business thing next week. He will miss next week around the Halo. I will not, but I will miss the following week. So we'll have to figure all that out. But I'm excited for whoever our guest. And Marco, you'll probably be in next week if you're in. But as well as I believe we have Jackie Angel on around the Halo, and then either Darnella Bridget. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun few weeks.
We can get Rick to fill in for one of the guys.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
Rick fills in for PTI, but he hasn't even followed me on Twitter yet, so I don't believe anything you say.
He doesn't know how to use Twitter. So that's an aggressive and bold statement.
1 second. Started an hour ago. What's your Twitter handle again?
At Bearded Blevins, one word.
Okay. Rick Santorum. Can you please follow?
I'm going to cry when that happens. Hey, guys, should we go live and play Fortnite?
We should go live and play Fortnite. Bye, guys!
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here on
PTI,
and we will see you shortly. Later.